Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a very exciting one because I am going to be talking about all of the products I have loved throughout the year of 2021. Happy New Year everybody, happy 2022. I hope this year brings you a lot of prosperity and health and success and love and happiness as we all collectively try to end the panoramic that's been happening for the past 2 years. I hope you guys are all well. I hope this year just brings you an abundance of good fortune in every aspect. And yeah, I have done this video every single year since I started my channel in 2018. So I will link my past three yearly favorite videos down below. Normally I would watch them back to give me like a point of reference. Okay, maybe like, was I loving that, or should I talk about that again? Should I repeat myself? I generally just wanted to think about all the stuff that I was really loving this year without a point of reference, so I haven't looked back at any of those other videos. I wanted this to be as organic and from the brain, like what do I really remember just using so much and loving this year. So yeah, on that note, obviously I still love all those products. I feel like a couple of these may be repeats from past years, but most of these are brand new items that you haven't seen in past yearly favorite videos. So if you guys want to see all of my yearly favorites from 2021, don't forget to please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you know when I post, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into it. By the way, if you can hear my dryer, I apologize. My dog's like car hammock is drying right now and the buckles are like banging against the thing. So please ignore that if you can hear it. Let's go in order of how you would apply products to your face. So first things first, I would need to talk about primer. This I have only had for the past couple of months, but I have been using it almost every single time I've sat down to do my makeup recently. And it is the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Base. Now, just so you guys know, as a preference to this video in general, I do have multiples of each product. So this isn't the only primer that I love because realistically, I try so much. I develop favorites throughout the year. So I have three favorite primers, for example, but the Wet n Wild Impossible Primer Base is my newest love. It's the one silicone-free primer that does it all. I spoke about it in my November favorites video, so I don't want to drag on too long about this, but it is essentially called the Impossible Primer because it mattifies, it hydrates, it blurs pores, it preps skin for long-lasting makeup, and it's impossibly silicone-free. Now, I agree with all of those claims. It's such a great primer when I want to do something that's not necessarily pore smoothing and not necessarily like gripping, which the other two primers I'm going to talk about are literally like those things, like one of one, but this is just like a nice Goldilocks all-around primer. It's vegan, it doesn't feel super thick on the skin, it kind of feels cooling, and it spreads out very evenly and does not leave like a thick layer on your face. The primer I am wearing today that is on one end of the spectrum that I just spoke about is the I Heart Revolution Strawberry Whip Pore Blurring Primer with vitamin C and E. This I think is my new favorite, like purely pore smoothing primer. It is a primer that I'm wearing on my face today, like I said, and I feel like it really just smoothed out the entire face. You really just see your skin visibly like smooth out. And what I love about it is that even though it is a thicker consistency, it really is like that Benefit Professional kind of vibe. It isn't super duper pilly. Like it won't pill off your skin like the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer can kind of. This one I think melts into your skin. It really does kind of remind me, actually, I have the Professional. Let me see. It really actually I think is a dupe for the Professional. They really, wow. Okay. I don't know, maybe I mentioned this before, but this is literally, this is literally a dupe for the Benefit Professional Primer. But it's cruelty-free and it's like $7 at Ulta, and I love that it's like strawberry scented. It is so smoothing. It is skin colored, so it's not going to leave like a harsh white cast under your foundation. This is awesome. And then on the other side of the spectrum in terms of gripping, I have to give a shout out to the e.l.f. Mint Melt Cooling Face Primer. I'm sorry, it looks like it's gone through hell and back because there's a lot of concealer on it from my Tarte Shape Tape, but I travel with this guy, and this is such a great dupe for the Milk Makeup Primer, which I will link a video down below where I kind of tested them out side by side. I did a wear test of this on one half of my face and then the Milk Makeup one on the other half to see if you really needed to spend that money. But I recently saw that e.l.f. came out with a true dupe for the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip. Like, I thought this was a dupe, but they came out, I think, with one that's like pointedly a dupe for that. So I might have to try that out, but this is really awesome. It is so cooling. It literally comes out like a gel consistency. You spread it out and it becomes very tacky to grip onto your makeup. And it just really makes it last a long time. It's scented like mint. I love that it's so travel friendly. It's more trouble friendly than like the Milk Makeup one. Awesome primer, and I love that all of my 3 favorites from this year are affordable and cruelty free. Okay, moving on to foundation. Now, foundation is one of those things that I don't feel like I buy a lot of. I only maybe try like a few different ones a year, but this one I discovered in the summer or like maybe late spring, and I love it so much. I've spoken about it in a favorites video prior, but this is the Too Faced Born This Way Matte Foundation, 24-hour undetectable super longwear foundation. I use this in a like full face of like sweat-proof, waterproof makeup back in the summer when I was living in Vegas and it was extremely hot, like I'm talking 110. This is the foundation that I'm wearing on my skin today. As you can see, this is warm beige and I am much paler. So I actually mixed this with my favorite little secret weapon. This is the LA Girl Pro Color Foundation Mixing Pigment. Shout out to LA Girl pigments in general. They have a blue one to tone down really warm foundations. They have a yellow one to warm up really cool foundation. They have a lightening and a darkening pigment to like help adjust your foundation. This is such a good foundation because it gives you such good coverage. 2 pumps is great medium full coverage. If you want even more coverage, you could do 3, and that is like full coverage. I love that it's very thin. It's very liquidy. It's oil controlling. It's waterproof. It's transfer resistant. I have worn this foundation through the ringer in sweaty conditions, out, you know, in the water. It is an awesome foundation. It blends out really beautifully, and if you have oily skin, I would suggest getting the matte version. The Smashbox Studio Skin Longwear Foundation is my favorite full coverage foundation, but I lost it. I don't know where it was, but I was using it as my go-to full coverage foundation for the first half of the year before I lost it. I have to repurchase it again because it truly gives you the most beautiful cake face ever without looking too heavy. That is awesome. I wore that in Miami in the humidity, and it lasted underneath a mask. One of my foundations that I have been loving as of recently is the SheGlam Complexion Pro Long Lasting Breathable Matte Foundation. I have the shade Peach. Now, obviously, I did this in my full face of SheGlam makeup where I demoed a bunch of products in a try-on haul. I will link that video below. This is such a good foundation for under $10. SheGlam, if you're not familiar, is the makeup brand that Shein, the clothes website, manufactures, and all of their products are really good. Like, I have a few of them to mention in this video that truly stood out to me for the entire year. Even though they were things that I discovered later on in the year, they were things that I really just would not stop using. This is a go-to great medium coverage foundation if I want to do like a Goldilocks look. Like maybe it's like me just going out to dinner with a friend and I don't really want to put on like a huge face, but I want to do a little bit more than just something like tinted moisturizer and a little bit of blush, you know? This is a great middle ground foundation. The color match is awesome. The package is really, really good. It's a glass bottle pump. The consistency is amazing. This performs like a high-end foundation that you would find at Sephora. It even looks like it, you know? So I have to give my hat out to SheGlam for this. It is phenomenal. Okay, then next up for concealer. Man, I love so many concealers. Guys, like I have had a hard time narrowing this down, but I don't want to be like, my entire collection's my favorite. But if I just really had to narrow down the ones that I used the most this year, God, I have 4 different concealers, and I know that's like so ridiculous, but I just have to be honest. I'm going to run through these because I've spoken about them in previous favorites videos, or I think even previous yearly favorites videos. Milani Conceal and Perfect in the shade Medium Beige is what I use to spot conceal today. Probably my favorite drugstore concealer formula, point blank period. I've tried light beige to highlight. Medium is great to spot conceal. I love the component, and I love that it's a flat, flexible doe foot application. It's very creamy, glides on the skin, deposits a nice full coverage satin finish. Amazing. The e.l.f. 16-Hour Camel Concealer is one that I always find myself reaching. This one is a little bit more difficult to work with because it dries down very quickly. They do have a creamy hydrating version if you have more of dry skin. This is the original like matte finish, and I have oily skin, so obviously I use this. This is a bulletproof concealer. I love the large doe foot application. I have the shade Medium Peach, even though I've tried Medium Sand and Medium Peach, and they're both light shades, so I do use this to highlight. Keep that in mind. Take these shade names with a grain of salt. This one says medium, but it's really like light or light medium, if that makes sense. It gives you full coverage, matte finish, beautiful, flawless like skin. Just make sure you blend it out quickly, otherwise it will dry and be very difficult to maneuver. Then one that I discovered this year, this is the one that I'm actually using to highlight my face today. This is the Wet n Wild Megalast Incognito Concealer. All day full coverage, and I have the shade light medium. This one is a little bit deeper than light medium, but again, you've got that flexible doe foot application. This one is a little bit pastier. I would say this one is more liquidy. This one's more pasty, and then the Milani is like literally right in the middle of those two in terms of consistency, but they're all really beautiful. This one lasts such a long time. It does not crease. You can see I'm wearing it underneath my eyes. Today I'm wearing it in my T-zone. This is an all-around wonderful concealer and so affordable. And then I talk about this in every single yearly favorites, but I will never stop talking about this concealer because this is my favorite concealer of all time. No, it's not overrated. Yes, Tarte tried to, I think, take the Shape Tape thing and run a little too far with it with other products they've come out that just have not been able to compare. But by golly, these are things that I've repurchased more than anything else in my collection. Light medium and 35 neutral medium, best concealers ever. I highlight with light medium and I spot conceal with medium. Sometimes I use medium tan, but the consistency is so right. The coverage is amazing. The application is just a dream, honestly. It leaves the most flawless finish and it's so easy and wonderful to blend out. My only gripe is the packaging and not the component itself with like the nice little doe foot. It really just set the trend for the big doe foot. But when I put the component back in, it doesn't happen with this one. With my medium, you can see it just gets all over the packaging. I don't know what it is. I'm not a messy person with my makeup, but for some reason it leaks, and that is what this is on my Mint Melt primer. I put this in a travel bag and it just gets all over everything. It is like debilitating, but I will still purchase it because I love the formula. Next, after concealer, we have powder, and these are all new powders. Well, this one I purchased last year, but it really just took the spot of my Essence Brighten Up Banana powder because of how blurring it is and just how smoothing and mattifying it is. This is the Ofra banana powder, and I always use a banana powder to set underneath my eyes and to highlight in the center of my face to set that down before I go in with all over like face powder or translucent powder. This one is such a good powder. It really looks like bright yellow, but it really does a great job at like brightening the skin. Again, it's very smoothing, very mattifying. I just take a brush like this, a small tapered brush, and I'll just like set underneath the eyes, down the T-zone, underneath my cheekbones to kind of like make that pop a little bit. I don't know how much more I can say about this. It's a great brightening powder. Now, a lot of people don't really use brightening powders. I personally do because I see a difference and I love it. And we've got 3 powders, all of which I discovered this year, and I'm so thrilled to share that all 3 I discovered this year. The first one is the one that I'm wearing on my face today. This is the Kosas Cloud Set Powder in the shade Comfy. You can find Kosas at Sephora. Kosas has such good products, and these are like their baked powders. They have a few different shades that cater to different skin tones, but this is the one that I got, and you can see she is loved. I just take a velour puff and I just put it in here and I dab, 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 set, set, set. This does deposit a little bit of color. You know, it's not like a clear powder, but because it does, or not clear, it's not a translucent powder, but it doesn't like give you coverage. It just kind of sets down a little bit of a tint so that you don't look super ghostly and you don't have like a lot of flashback. Now, this is the most smoothing powder. It's very lightweight, very smooth. It's a baked formula. It's not necessarily gonna prolong your makeup as long as like a loose translucent powder would, in my opinion, but for everyday wear, it's so comfy and the ingredients are good for you. I truly love this. I think this was an amazing find and definitely my new favorite pressed powder. I feel like if you had to predict any product that I would be speaking about in today's video, it would be these 2 products. Let's start off with the one that I discovered in the first half of the year. This is the Wet n Wild Photofocus Loose Setting Powder. I just don't want to talk about this too much because I rave about it all the time. My favorite loose drugstore powder. It is so smoothing, so amazing. It truly just makes you look like you have a filter on your face and you just truly look poreless. This is an amazing powder. Please do not like skip this up if you're looking for a good loose powder. This will blur the crap out of your skin. I never understood what people used to mean when they're like, oh, you're walking around, it looks like you have a filter on your face. Like, this truly does that though. Like, this is amazing. If you want something a little bit more high-end, the Patrick Star One Size powder is chef's kiss. This I've also spoken about so much. I spoke about in the November favorites video. And yes, I've only been using this for like a couple months at this point, but by golly, this also sets your face down so well. The only thing that throws me off is the chunkiness of it, like the consistency. It's not as finely milled as the Wet n Wild one. Like you can see there's like little chunks, but when you blend it onto your skin, like it really doesn't matter. It just gives you such a beautiful poreless effect. These powders I think are my favorite find of 2021. So yeah, definitely go check them out. They're phenomenal. Okay, let's move on to bronzer slash contour. Now, I am not going to talk about any cream or liquid contours in this video because I just feel like I wasn't using them all that much throughout the entire year. But the Essence Contouring Palette, this is a little duo for, this was in the shade 10 Lighter Skin. This is such a good little duo. I mean, to be honest, I don't really use this lighter shade. I do use this gray kind of cool tone contouring shade, and you can see how much pigment that deposits. It's what I use on my face today to contour. I just took a little brush like this. This is the e.l.f. bronzing brush, and I just dabbed it in, lightly contoured. It's very buildable, very, very smooth. It's not going to look heavy on your skin. It's very easy to blend out. It is a very soft powder, so when you dip your brush in, you do get a lot of kickback. Just tap it off and go in, and the soft powder really allows it to just blend into your skin. I think this is such a good palette. It's so affordable, and if you are a beginner to contour, like, I am not someone who religiously contours my face. I feel like towards the end of the year was when I really got into it more, but this is such a good palette, great to travel with. Then I have like 3 bronzers I want to give a shout out to, one of which is kind of like a bronzer, I would say. This is the Bare Minerals Endless Summer Bronzer in the shade Faux Tan. This is a bronzer that I would use so much if I want to do like literally like a cool tone bronze. Like, I don't want to separately contour, but I want to add a little bit of that structure to my face. This is what I will use because, as you can see, it's definitely not a warm bronzer. Kind of smells like suntan too. Like, you can see it's much more subtle than the contour. I will link all of my corresponding collection videos down below. I did a mascara collection, a primer collection, blush collection, bronzer, you name it. I will link those videos down below for your viewing reference in case you want to see more. But this is a great kind of like middle ground bronzer. Blends out very beautifully, very nice to build up. One of the opposite end of the spectrum that I also discovered this year that I love, and what I'm wearing on top of my contour today, is the Essence Sun Club Luminous Bronzing Powder in the medium tone shade. You can get Essence at Ulta. This is, as you can see, a much warmer bronzer. You can see right here. This pan size is huge, and I do get what they mean by a luminous bronzing powder because it's very warm. You can see right here, but it's very buildable and it has a nice sheen to it. So that's why oftentimes if I contour with this, I will want to warm up my face with a nice warm tone bronzer. And this is one that I would often reach for. It looks kind of orangey in the pan, but on my skin tone, it doesn't translate like that. I think it just gives me a really nice flush of warmth. Then I have to give a shout out to this because even though I haven't been using it that long, this is one that I've been using so often since I purchased it. This, you can see, is definitely a little bit more cool tone than the Essence one. So this is one that I would probably just go in without contouring first on a regular like day-to-day basis. This is the Glowish by Huda Beauty Soft Radiance Bronzing Powder in the shade 10 Light. I'm not going to stay here long because I spoke about this in my November favorites video, but I love how buildable this bronzer is. This is not one of those bronzers. Actually, none of these bronzers are really ones where they're super duper pigmented in the pan. They don't really have fallout or kick up in the pan to the point where you like put it on your face and it applies a patch. It's not like that at all. It blends out very, very smoothly, and it is pretty buildable. So this is a great discovery of the year, even though I've only been using it for a couple months. Okay, for blush, I have 4 different ones. Let's start off with the powder ones. The one that I'm wearing on my face today, surprisingly, is this guy, and I wouldn't have thought this would make it to my yearly favorites, but I found myself reaching for this quite a bit. This is the e.l.f. Always Rosy Primer Infused Blush. e.l.f. came out with a bunch of different primer infused blushes, and you can see this one is a very nice kind of like rosy cool tone pink, and I love all of my other blushes that I have in my collection. Like, I love my Essence ones, my Buxom ones, but this is just one that I would reach for so often. It's primer infused, so it does last a really long time on your skin. It's matte, but it's a very creamy formula. Like I said, it's the blush I'm wearing on my face today. It does deposit a lot of color, but you don't really get fallout at all. Like, it's not one of those products where you feel like you stamp too much and then you have to like work to like really blend it out. I love it for like a nice kind of neutral cool tone pink look. This is probably the powder blush I reached for the most this year. I don't know why. Sometimes you just gravitate towards things, right? And this is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in the shade Vintage Rouge. I don't know if it's the packaging. And see, that really is the thing about like packaging. It really does kind of influence what you want to grab for, right? As trivial as it may be. But anyway, smells like a coconut vacation. This is just the softest, most beautiful powder ever. Very buildable. And I think the reason why I've reached for this so much is because it's that nice neutral tone. It's not too warm, it's not too cool. It's a beautiful neutral, very, very soft, buildable, but still leaves a nice color on your cheeks. And the two cream slash liquid blushes I want to talk about are the Colourpop blush sticks. Now, I've had this one for a while. This is in the shade Aloha. This was my very first cream blush. I swatched all of my cream blushes in my everyday makeup routine video that I recently uploaded. I will link that above and below so you can see those there. This is in the shade Aloha, amazing. The shade Rum Runner is one that I picked up this summer, and it was what I was using nonstop this summer. I just take this on a like dense synthetic brush, dab it on my skin if I'm wearing foundation, or if I'm not wearing foundation, just apply it on my cheeks and be good to go. Blend it out. So creamy. Dries down very nicely. I would always set this though, but I think these are amazing and they're so cute and they come in a bunch of different shades. Probably my number one pick of the year for blush has to go to these guys. I became obsessed with cream blush, cream products in general this year. These are the Rare Beauty blushes and I definitely want to get more shades. I have the shade Love and the shade Bliss. Again, I swatched these in my everyday makeup routine videos. Love was that girl. Love was the first one that I purchased, and even though she's kind of an intimidating dark terracotta matte shade, it is beautiful. You really have to learn to work with these. The first time I applied it, I applied way too much. Honestly, just a dot or two at the most is more than enough because it blends out and it's very, very pigmented. These are both the matte formula, by the way. And then also Bliss, such a beautiful true pink shade. Like this would be a go-to shade for me if I didn't know what look I was wearing, but I just wanted like a nice kind of like color to my face. Amazing. Just dab it on and just blend it out and you look like you have flushed cheeks. Also perfect for like a no makeup look. Like if you don't want to apply foundation at all, just do a dab of this and your face instantly like looks more alive. Highlighter, thank God I only have 2 items to share with you today. The Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter in the shade Lit. Good golly, this is such a good blinding highlight. It's what I'm wearing on my face today. It's buildable, but it does deposit that beautiful glow. Like look how satisfying that is. Like I said, I will link all of my collection videos down below so that you can see me talk about more of these in depth. This is such a great highlighter, very pearlescent, very glowy, but not chunky or glittery at all. That's what it looks like in the pan. I think Lit is like their champagne shade, which I love, love, love. I love a good champagne highlight. Speaking of champagne, Becca Champagne Pop, honestly an OG. This will forever be that girl, and I love this shade as well. It's a little bit lighter than Lit, just like an inch lighter, and a little bit more gold, as you can see if you want to compare these two. I mean, they're very similar on the cheeks, but if you really want to go there, well actually this looks more peachy in the lighting. It really just depends on the lighting, but God, this is such a good blinding highlight. I wore this on my birthday. It is one of my go-to highlights now if I want like a bam, like in your face beam, without looking chunky, without looking glittery, but just like a nice beautiful sheen to give your face that like glow. Okay, let's finally get to eye products. Eyebrow products though, first and foremost. I'm not gonna stay here long. The e.l.f. Instant Brow Lift Pencil is my favorite brow pencil of all time. However, I have not stopped using this brow pencil for the past several times I've sat down to do my makeup. And it's funny because it's one of the products in my SheGlam video that I wasn't super impressed with when I first tried, but I got the hang of it and I love it. It's the SheGlam brow pencil in the shade Dark Brown. I swear I get the best brow, sorry, my friend called me. Anyway, this gives me the best brow day ever, even when I haven't got my brows done. Like I haven't got my brows done in like a month now at this point. The component kind of looks like the Anastasia Beverly Hills brow definer, in the fact that it's got that triangular tip. What I said in that video, the Shein video, was that it was kind of hard to deposit color, but I don't know if it's because I've warmed it up enough at this point, but every time I apply it now, like the lightest hand will give me the best results. Like it's very easy to work with. It's definitely creamier than when I first tried it, and it's just so easy to work with. It gives me the most natural color. I love the application of this, honestly. So I have to give a shout out to this because this is such a good brow pencil, and I don't feel like I need the brow definer now that I have this. This is my new favorite brow gel of all time. Like I don't even need to stay here long. This is the Kosas Air Brow Gel in the shade Brown Black. It's what I have on my brows right now. It beats out my Milk Makeup one, which used to be my all-time favorite, because the Milk Makeup one is very fibery. This one deposits more color, so it does a better job at filling in your brows than the Milk Makeup one. The Milk Makeup one was great at giving you texture, giving like the appearance of brow hairs. This one is just a good product all around, and that it does do that, but more than that, it gives you a good amount of color on your brows. It fills in those gaps, and it really combs them down and allows them to stay put. And I just love everything about it. I love the packaging. I love the wand size. I love how it feels good in your hand, as weird as that may sound, but it's just so easy to just kind of comb through your brows. Okay, mascara. These are my two winners for 2021. First of which is the Essence Lash Princess Mascara. This is one that I feel everybody spoke about on TikTok, online, and Essence discontinued my favorite mascara of all time, but this one is a great product. You know, it's still an amazing mascara. It's got the acorn brush tip, and it's a natural bristle, so it does a great job at volumizing your lashes. I find that these kind of brushes are better at volumizing, whereas like plasticky comb brushes are good at like giving you length, like this. I mean, there are so many good formulas out there on the market, but this one just gives you so much volume and so much length. This is, again, the False Lash Effect Mascara, so it's the green tube. It's what I have on my lashes right now, and I love it so much. My lashes, I've been getting a lot of compliments on my lashes recently. I'm like, oh, thank you. And I think a lot of it's because I do use Grande Lash MD Serum, which that really does make a difference with my lashes. So that's awesome, but this is a great mascara. Probably my favorite mascara of the entire year is the IT Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. This is the Elastic Stretch Volumizing Mascara. I bought this, I think, in June. And it kind of looks similar to the Essence one, but this is a very wet formula. Very black, very wet. It's giving drama. It's giving, I don't want to get lash extensions because they're annoying and expensive, but I want false lashes. That's what this is giving. You really have to make sure you wipe the brush off though before you go in, because it is coated in product, and if you do not do that, it will smear and you will look like a raccoon in like 4.32 seconds. This is the most dramatic mascara ever. It is amazing, amazing, amazing. If you want nice volumized black, thick, intense lashes, get this. I talk about lash primer. I guess the Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer, this isn't essential. I need to use it every time I put on mascara. Looks like this, $5, and really amazing. Enriched with like acai oil, mango butter, and vitamin E. It acts as like a push-up bra for your mascara, so I love it.
A few moments later.
Wait, for powder, I forgot to talk about the Urban Decay All Nighter Powder. This is my favorite long-wearing powder. As you can see, I've hit pan. This I discovered earlier on, and I just went to my travel bag to get it, which is why I forgot about it. This is amazing, really sets your makeup down, smooths the crap out of your skin, and really is waterproof. So this is phenomenal. For eyeliner, I have to give it a shout out to 3 different eyeliners. First of which is my favorite kohl liner of all time. This is the Essence 16-Hour Wear Long Lasting Waterproof Eye Pencil. This is amazing, black as can be, does not smudge. It's one of those products that deposits on your waterline right away, so this is great. Then the Appeal Gel Liner in Deep Taupe. This has been my go-to brown eyeliner. I'm wearing it on my eyes today to tightline, and it goes on very smoothly, very creamy, very pigmented, and it lasts a really long time too on your waterline. And then in terms of liquid liner, this is just the #1 that I have. It's the Colourpop liquid liner in the shade Numero Uno. This is such an easy felt tip application, and even though it is a felt tip, I find it very easy to work with. The tip is very precise. When you go over an area, if you want to perfect your wing, it deposits color every time. It's not one of those felt tips that gets like dried out and it kind of makes your wing look all over the place. This is very precise, deposits so much good color. For eyeshadow, I want to give a shout out to the NYX Single Shadow in the shade Raven, because it's a black single shadow and it's a great thing to keep on the go, or if you don't really want to go in and dig into a palette, you just take a little bit of this and you take like a smudger brush and then you line your upper lash line and your bottom lash line, and it looks like you're wearing eyeliner, but it's a much more foolproof way to go. These are all honestly all small palettes that I have to talk about. The one I'm wearing on my eyes today is one that I truly have fallen in love with over the past, like the back half of the year. The Juvia's Place Nubian palette, but the mini palette. Every single shade in this palette is so good. Even though I've said before, they're not the most pigmented mattes ever, that's okay because you still get really beautiful transition shades. This shade changed my life. I now am on the hunt. I look through all my palettes trying to find a shade like this. It's what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I had to do this look because this was like my favorite go-to eye look in the back half of 2021, because this is just what I discovered. It just makes my eyes pop. It's so flattering, so complimentary, and so easy. You just do a little bit of this in the crease, a little bit of this all over the lid, and then a little bit of this dark chocolate in your outer V. fantastic. This is honestly a staple for me now. The e.l.f. Bite Size Eyeshadow Palette in the shade Truffle. You don't need anything else when you travel. You have a nice silvery shade, a nice taupe tan for transition, a nice dark brown, and a nice black. Perfect, beautiful glam palette. You can do a nice smoky eye, a nice everyday eye. This lives in my travel bag. Like, it lives in my travel bag because it is just such an essential. And I know that if I'm in a pinch, no matter what the occasion is, I can do something with this palette. Same thing with this. This is actually the palette that I wore to my friend's wedding in Vegas. This is the Wet n Wild My Glamour Squad eyeshadow palette. This is one of their Color Icon like little palettes. It's not the fanciest packaging, but it's Wet n Wild and so affordable. These shades are so pigmented, so beautiful. Like, look at this. Look at the pigment. Look at the pigment. Amazing. The mattes, beautiful, chocolatey, rich mattes that blend out so seamlessly. You can do so many different looks with this. I use the black. I love that you have different transitions. Like, this truly is an all-out like glamour palette. If you want to do a nice smoky eye, day to night look, this is your girl right here, and it's so easy to travel with because the packaging. Okay, for falsies, I need to give a shout out to this. These are the Wiwo Co false eyelashes 14 pairs pack that I got off Amazon for $9.99. If you've seen me on a falsies look this year, from like May on, it was probably with this pair. Like, I've worn this to my friends' weddings. I wear this as like a nice glam look. It is such a good falsie. It's so inexpensive. You would think like it wouldn't be, but you have really beautiful, like nice wispy lashes. They're separated. For hooded eyes like mine, you can still see the glam that you've got going on underneath. It gives you just enough drama. I love them. And they're so comfortable to wear. Just trim them and they're good. Okay, we have made it to lips. Good golly. I have a few different lip products. Let's start off with lip liner. The Morphe Sweet Tea lip liner is my favorite lip liner. It's what I'm wearing on my lips today. It's what I've worn in the majority of my videos because I've really gotten into lip liner. It's so creamy, so smooth, and Sweet Tea I know is like a big trend. Like this shade in particular, like brown lips are really in. But if you know me, you know a dark honey brown terracotta nude is my favorite shade. It's so beautiful. It's perfect to outline your lips. Very easy, creamy, smooth, all of the things, phenomenal. And it stays put. It lasts such a long time, but it's a perfect thing to define your lips. But if you also want to fill them in, you definitely can with this because it is creamy enough. This was a year where I really fell hard. I mean, I've always really liked Too Faced Melted Mattes. I've had these two from the year before, but I love the Too Faced Melted Matte Liquid Lipsticks. Guys, I'm currently wearing Cool Girl. It's a nice cool tone, light nude. It's what I'm wearing. Let me swatch it here. It's what I'm wearing on my lips right now. Such a beautiful shade, very light, very airy. I also love Gingerbread Man. I'm just gonna swatch all the ones I have for you right now because I did wear them a lot this year. This beautiful, hot, rusty terracotta red. And then if you want a little bit more drama, Gingerbread Girl. These are obviously like holiday releases, which they do holiday liquid lips so right, like a nice burgundy. And then what I just got that I absolutely love is the Cinnamon Bun liquid lipstick. It's a deeper, warmer nude than Cool Girl. You can see right here. I love it. Perfect for my skin tone. I love a good deep nude. Speaking of deep nudes, I also have to give a shout out to this guy right here. This is the Smashbox Always On liquid lipstick in the shade Stepping Out, which is their deep nude. I love the applicator of this because it's like that nice triangular flat tip. This does really wear a long time on your lips. I would say the Too Faced ones are a little bit moussier in consistency than the Smashbox one. The Smashbox one is very liquidy, but they both last a really, really long time. They do dry down matte, but they are a nice comforting matte. They do not dry out your lips, and I have dry lips. They're not super duper bone dry, but they are matte. The last liquid lipstick I have to mention is the SheGlam lipstick in the shade Sugar. You guys, I know I just spoke about this, but this is my favorite like warm tone nude. Look how beautiful and rich and warm that is. Very beautiful. Like if you guys watched my Shein video, I did a check-in at the end of the night. I had not touched on my makeup the entire day, did not put any other lip product on. It was phenomenal. It is so good. It lasts through everything. I wore it to my friend's rehearsal dinner and it just lasted through drinking and eating. It is an amazing, amazing formula. I love it. I actually don't really have any bullet lipsticks to talk about this year with you guys. I feel like I really have just been reaching for liquid lipsticks or lip glosses, but I love all the bullet lipsticks that I've spoken about before. These are probably my top 3 glosses from the year. The one I'm wearing on my lips right now is the Alamar Cosmetics Des Nudas lip gloss in Mommy Spice Latte. This is a thicker formula. You can see it's very thick, very pink, very opaque, but it's got that nice shimmer. So if I want to like add a nice like pop of like warmth to my lip color, I will reach for this. It is very glossy and it is a pretty sticky formula, so it does last a really long time. You just have to be careful to not apply too much, otherwise it will chunk off and give you that weird kind of like butthole lip situation. But other than that, really beautiful. This I think is my favorite like all around gloss that I discovered this year. This is the Makeup by Mario Pro Volume Lip Gloss in the shade Golden Nude. It's not too thick, but it gives you just enough. Like it swatches kind of thick, but on the lips, it's very comforting, very hydrating. I've worn this on no makeup days. I've worn this with a full face of makeup, like as a lip topper, and it gives you just enough shine and it's very comfortable and lasts a really long time, and you don't feel the glitter on your lips. Like it doesn't feel like gritty at all. The last lip gloss that I want to talk about, which I hope they still have, Colourpop. I don't think they do anymore because I haven't seen them come out with any ultra glossy lips. This is the one in the shade Fantasia. It's like a nice neutral brown with like gold flecks. I honestly love the little like brush tip applicator. I feel like it's kind of old school, but I love it. And I love the Colourpop Ultra Glossy Lips in general. Again, I don't know if they still have them, but they're very comfortable, very high shine. And this was just a beautiful nude that I could also wear by itself or on top of like a lip liner or on top of a lipstick. Gorgeous, gorgeous formula. Last but not least, setting spray. Okay, where's the one that I knocked over? At least I cracked my back out of that. The Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I have to say this year over year. Like some things I just feel like I have to use year over year because you're not trying setting sprays like you are lipstick. Maybe you are, but not me. So this is my go-to girl. She's continuous. She's fine. She smells good. She sets her makeup down. It gives you that nice radiant finish. This truly just is a nice finishing spray. It just melts all of the makeup into your skin. Really, really beautiful. And this one, surprisingly, I have loved throughout the entire year. This is a Maven Beauty Rose Water Setting Spray. I think Maven Beauty is Fashion Nova's beauty brand. I could be wrong. I don't actually own anything from Fashion Nova, and I got this in a BoxyCharm. It's such a good setting spray. It really just makes your makeup last a really long time. Nice fine mist. Like it's not obviously as fine and it's not as continuous as the Morphe one. Smells really nice. It does have denatured alcohol in it, I will say, and that is what's going to make your makeup last longer. On a day-to-day basis, I'm fine with the Morphe one, which doesn't have it because denatured alcohol can actually break me out. But yeah, these are my favorite setting sprays of 2021. All right, everybody, that was it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed my roundup of all of my makeup products from 2021. This was such a long video, but thank you so much if you stayed to the end. Please don't forget to leave me a comment down below with your favorite beauty products from 2021, all of your makeup favorites. I want to know. I feel like this was a great year for makeup. Let's make 2022 even better, and I am manifesting more exciting makeup launches, more excitement for us all, health, and just happiness for everybody. So yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking with me this year. I hit 1,000 subscribers this year, which is a pretty significant milestone for me. So thank you so much to those of you who watch my videos a lot, and to all of my friends who watch and subscribe. I love you so much. You know who you are, and I know who you are, so it means everything to me. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I have to go pick up my dog from the groomer now, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye!